Why is personal branding such a career superpower? Biggest personal brand mistake people make. If someone's thinking, okay, I need to start building my personal brand, where the heck do I begin? Welcome to Career Amplified. I'm your host, Karen Dixon, and this is the podcast where we break down the strategies, mindsets, and stories that help you build a career that you love. If you like this show, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to this channel at Career Amplified Official. Now, today's episode is extra special for me because not only are we diving into a topic I'm super passionate about, which is personal branding, but my guest happens to be family. Yes, today I'm joined by my amazing niece, Jenieka Dixon. Jenieka is a dynamic HR recruiter and content creator and the founder of the Market Agency, where she helps brands and influencers build impactful partnerships. With her unique blend of corporate experience and creative vision, she's redefining the influencer marketing space. And honestly, I've admired every space she's worked in. Plus, I love that we share similar passions around career growth and personal branding. Jenieka, welcome to Career Amplified. It feels like we're about to mix Sunday family vibes with some serious career energy.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. And yes, you are very, very right. This feels like we are going to be having a family reunion, but with the microphones present. And must I say, I really liked that intro. It was very good. It spoke to all my different hats that I wear on any given day and just everything that's made, the conversation that we're about to have possible. So I'm really, really excited for us to get into all these topics and discussion.
Thank you. Yeah, usually it's over coffee or after a family dinner. So this time we're letting everyone else in on it. I love that. Awesome. Well, let's kick it off with the big question. Why is personal branding such a career superpower?
Ooh, this is very important. So, personal branding is basically how people experience you before they even meet you in person. It's almost like your business card. It's really going to represent who you are. I know from my perspective as a recruiter, whenever I am on social media or LinkedIn or different platforms, which we're going to get into later on, candidates with a strong personality that I'm able to see through their profile are always going to be the ones that stand out, and it's not just their resume, it's the fact that they're able to really tell a story and make themselves memorable with that personal brand. And I think that's what leads to a lot more opportunities.
Yes. And I love how you frame it as an experience. I always tell my clients, your personal brand walks in the room before you do, right? And people are Googling you, checking you on LinkedIn, even scrolling your socials, whether you like it or not. So you already have a brand. Walk in the room.
Yep, exactly. And the question that people often have to ask themselves is, do you have a brand? But also, they also need to ask, how are you owning it? How are you shaping it? How are you really putting yourself out there? What is the projection that you're giving to other people, recruiters, people that just happen to be scrolling on these sites? What perception are they getting of you?
Right. I love that. And that's why it's such a career superpower, right? It positions you as the obvious choice for recruiters, partners, or even collaborators or collaborations, I should say. Awesome. Okay. So let's talk about this because a lot of people think personal brand equals LinkedIn profile. So what's the difference?
Ooh, okay. So I hear this all the time. LinkedIn is just like this tool that you're using. Even honestly, there are a lot of people that aren't even using LinkedIn, which I think is so crazy because for myself, it's how I've honestly secured a lot of different career moves and positions, and how I actually got into recruitment in the first place was someone stumbling upon my LinkedIn profile. And it's all about telling a story across all platforms. And I think we'll get into this a little bit later as well. Oftentimes, people kind of want to hide who they are on Instagram in comparison to who they are on LinkedIn, but it's all about telling a story across all platforms that checks out. It's all about your story, your values, your voice, your consistency across all of these different platforms. And I really think of LinkedIn as a billboard. It's like my personal brand is my own company, and I'm always striving to protect its representation and its reputation on all different platforms 24/7. It's really, really important.
Yes, LinkedIn is definitely like a business, a digital business card. But your brand is how you follow up, how people feel after interacting with you as well, right? And how consistent you are in showing up. And let's be real. Some people have the prettiest LinkedIn page, but zero personality, or the opposite. No fancy profile, but their presence in the room makes them unforgettable.
Yep, yep, that is exactly it, and even as you were saying that, I'm thinking it works in both aspects because maybe you meet someone first at an event or something like that, and then they're like, "Oh, what's your LinkedIn? Let me add you on there." And some people are a little weary of sharing it because they come to realize that it doesn't actually represent the charismatic person that they were, that individual met at an event, and vice versa. So always let people know that this is why your personal brand is literally what people are going to say about you when you're not in the room.
Mhm.
Similar to your resume, but I think LinkedIn and these different platforms give you the opportunity to show a lot more of your personality, your creativity, rather than just a 1 or 2 page Word document. You know what I mean? It's
Mm,
really going to be able to help you shape the conversations that are going to be had. Say you get that interview, or say you go to that conference and you meet someone, they're going to be able to be like, "Oh, I saw that post the other day on your LinkedIn," or "I saw that you do this, that, and the third," or "5 years ago you were doing so and so," because you put those things about yourself out there and you really shaped your brand on this platform.
right. I feel like some listeners just went, "Oh no, are people talking about me when I'm not in the room?" So don't panic. It's true, but the good news is you can guide what they're saying, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, as a recruiter, you've seen it firsthand, what makes a candidate stand out because of their personal brand. Is that correct?
Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. I think oftentimes, yes, when you are applying on a job board or on a company's website, they of course ask for your resume. But I think we've all experienced where they're going to ask you, what is the link to your LinkedIn profile? Are you, active on these different platforms? And they're going to ask you for that direct link. I mean, you probably have even seen before, there are some platforms that maybe will ask you for your personal social media. I think that's even sometimes a thing. So it's all about making sure that there's clarity and consistency. So when you are inputting your resume into the platform, you also want to make sure that it matches what's actually on your LinkedIn so that you're not telling a very unclear story. And when someone's online presence matches their resume and their energy in the interview, that's what makes it powerful. And that's what checks off those boxes because you're really showing that you are who you say you are. And you could be really interesting on your LinkedIn profile and really creative, but then maybe you come into the interview, and we all know people get the scaries sometimes when they're in an interview environment. So I think a lot of the times maybe your LinkedIn could save you because maybe you were just not having the best day during that interview, but it's really important that the two check out. And I remember, seeing that there are a lot of candidates, I'll go even in recruitment and take a look at their LinkedIn and see what maybe their personal interests are, or
Mhm.
how are they taking different skill sets and really, implementing them into their lifestyle. Maybe they volunteered somewhere that has to do with their interests, but it has to do with their professional career.
Yeah.
So I really like to see that people are engaged in what they're really about, and almost that sense of like they're putting their money where their mouth is and they're really who they say they are, not just what they put on their resume or on their profile, but that the two parallel and really feed off of each other when they're in that interview and vice versa.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more, especially in my experience in recruiting as well. When you see if your brand is somewhat scattered or your online presence
Mm,
all over the place, it can make
mhm.
recruiters hesitate. Would you agree with that statement?
Absolutely. I think a really big thing, especially in the, hiring market for Gen Z and millennials, I find a lot of the times maybe we get a degree in something, but our career path is totally different than what we got our degree in. And that's
Mhm.
perfectly fine. But like for myself, I went to school for television communications, right? And I got into recruitment just because I had such a diverse background being bilingual and also a lot of customer facing experience. And we know HR is all about like getting to know people.
Mm,
But there's ways of tying things back together. So, let's say if someone's applying for a finance job and all of their socials are about like travel and all these random things, maybe, they're volunteering somewhere that's just completely left field, which is totally fine. But I think you have to have a common thread. So maybe you are applying for a job in finance and you post about traveling, but maybe you're going to post something specific to, I don't know, making sure that you secure travel rewards or how you can go about getting maybe a credit card that gives you travel rewards or the newest article from Amex about travel rewards that kind of like guides it back into being about finance. Then we have an idea that, okay, finance is an interest that you genuinely have because that's of course what a company is looking for. They want someone that's going to bring something to the table, or all in all, someone that has an interest in the industry that they're in. So we want to make sure that there's an alignment there. Of course, you're free to have different interests, but there definitely has to be a common thread to what you're all about and the type of career path that you're trying to go down.
yes, that's such a good point. I guess it's making sure that your professional narrative is consistent and memorable is going to keep you top of mind, right? Uh,
Yep, exactly.
so one thing I know you're really brilliant at, Janika, is storytelling. How does
Yes.
storytelling tie into building a brand?
Yes, this is really, really important. And it's funny that you say storytelling because even as we've been going through this discussion, this conversation, I'm like, am I getting carried away with some of these stories and not sticking to the point? so I so I guess it makes perfect sense. They have proof that I am definitely a storyteller. But yes, storytelling is so, so important because whether it's on your personal social media or your LinkedIn or your resume is telling a story. Resumes are stories. They want to know, recruiters want to know, HR wants to know, the hiring manager wants to know. What have you been doing? What have your interests been? How did you go from this one line of work to a completely different one? We want to know exactly what the whole story is and how your personal life feeds into that. Whether you have kids and you wanted to work a job that was more remote for a period of time, or, we were talking about earlier, travel. Maybe you went and worked in another country for 5 years because you just had that, you were eager to travel and live somewhere else. So it's really about, telling that story and being able to speak to your resume authentically. And, for example, instead of saying, for myself that I've worked in HR for 5 years, and this was something that I actually at first was having some trouble with when I was editing my LinkedIn profile, because I was thinking to myself, people are going to log on here and they're going to see an agency and they're going to see influencer marketing and they're going to see branding and they're going to see recruitment and they're going to be like, okay, what the heck does this girl have going on? How is she even going to have time for this job? Because she has her own stuff going on in her own personal life and her own personal company. And I really was able to give clarity by through my bio that I have on my LinkedIn profile. I was really able to let people know how the two actually have a lot of overlap, because the way that I see it, I connect people. So in recruitment, I connect individuals, strong resumes, different career paths with the ideal job that they're looking for. And with influencer marketing, it's connecting brands with influencers that they want to work with or a certain audience that they want to tap into. They're really, really similar. So it was all a matter of telling that story and how I got into it and how they really parallel each other. And I've really used my bio to do that. And then also the types of posts that I reshare on my LinkedIn, or the individuals that I connect with, or the conversations that I may hop into on different individuals' posts on there. So I think it's really important for people to know that it's okay. You don't have to hide your personal life and your personal interests from your LinkedIn. That's
Mhm.
all a part of the story, and really branding and putting everything together all in one.
Yeah, I would say there's nothing better than being able to be yourself at work or
Hmm.
that you take, right? and them knowing all those things about you prior to you joining the company, I think just makes for a great story, but also makes for a great position to be in as an employee,
Mhm.
right? You can be your authentic self. So I love that.
Yep.
And it's about making people root for you, not just know about you. So that's why I always encourage clients to share wins, lessons, even failures,
Yes.
right? Because
Yep.
it makes you relatable. I think that's
Yep,
the key.
and I will say, even sharing your goals and aspirations. I think even for myself, for a really long time, I maybe had some management teams or certain companies, the culture, people didn't wanna say that they wanted to get a promotion in 3 years. They wanted to be a director, or they wanted to move from customer service into marketing. It's kind of was a taboo thing.
Mhm,
Whereas I think definitely the market nowadays is changing, and maybe as a potential candidate looking for a job, that could be something that you really look for when you're interviewing to see if this company has a culture of growth and of, people being open to say what their goals and their aspirations are to their direct leader and not feeling like they're going to be judged or, not promoted for it.
mhm, mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Those are very, very key points you've just mentioned. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so let's have a little fun. I'll
Okay.
throw some quick brand check questions for you. Um,
Okay.
First thing that comes to mind, personal
Okay.
and one word.
Ooh, I'd say energetic.
Biggest personal brand mistake people make.
Control C, control V.
Love that. Social media platform people underestimate for branding.
Ooh, okay, I have 2 answers for this, sorry. I'm gonna say TikTok, and I'm gonna say a close second is Snapchat, which
Oh,
I, for a very long time, was like, "Oh, that's for kids, that app is dead." It's
mhm.
making a very big comeback, especially for monetization options for Canadians. Just putting that out there, people
Mm,
are interested. Yeah,
that's a great, perspective. What's one
yes.
thing people can do today to boost their brand?
Um, Fix your LinkedIn profile. Or make sure you have a LinkedIn profile. So many people don't have LinkedIn. It's really, really crazy, and I don't understand why, and they'll complain about the job market, and I'm just thinking to myself, "How are you not on these platforms?" It's one of the easiest and passive ways to find jobs. You can literally put yourself out there and say that you're open to work. So many companies, even they have LinkedIn integrated into their system. So in order for you to apply to the role, you have to have a LinkedIn profile. So that's why I
Right.
think it's so crazy that people don't have a LinkedIn. It's crazy to me, insane.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing, and it's as time goes by and you don't do it, you get further and further behind. That's for sure.
Yep. Yep. Because
Um,
building it is starting to build your LinkedIn is
hmm,
one thing, but then inputting your resume onto the platform. But then as we said, recruiters are looking at what do you post? What posts have you engaged with? Which posts have you reposted? And that takes time to do. It's like any other platform. You just don't start an Instagram page with 100 posts and 10,000 followers. Like it's something you work towards. So I think it's better to start sooner than later, for sure.
even commenting thoughtfully on someone else's post might also build your presence,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So
You don't know who else is in that comment section that could see that you took interest or curious. Maybe you have a beautifully branded photo or logo as your profile picture, and that piques their interest and they see what you're about. And also on LinkedIn, it gives a short blurb on some of the pages of what your current title is or the company or other connections that you may have with that person that could pique their interest to click on your profile. So it definitely has a lot of integrations that are beneficial and helpful for sure.
for sure. Um, all right, Janika, before we wrap up, let's leave our listeners with some practical steps. If someone's thinking, okay, I need to start building my personal brand, where the heck do I begin? Right? What's step one for them?
So step one is getting clear and really just asking yourself the simple questions. Who am I? Who do I want people to know me as? What are maybe my top three interests? and keep it simple. Like, even if your interests are just specific words, maybe it's fitness, maybe it's travel, maybe it's finance. You're like, okay, these are the three things that I want to be locked and loaded in. I've gone to school, I have my degree in finance. Like, this things that you want to get clear about, and then you can build from there. Because if you don't know who you are, what you even want to be represented as, you don't really have a foundation for anything at all.
Got it. That's powerful. Okay, step 2.
Okay, so step 2 is going to be consistency. As I mentioned, you're not going to have a LinkedIn with hundreds of connections and posts in a day, similar to any other platform. You have to start somewhere and you have to be consistent with it, whether it's engaging, whether it's doing a lot of searches, even in being consistent with searches.
Mhm.
So, not to get too ahead of the steps, but of course, when you create the profile, you have all your experience, your interests on there, maybe a portfolio, some fun stuff. Then start having fun on the platform, do some searches of different companies, maybe individuals that work for these companies, engage with them, get creative with your searches, go on Google, type in maybe someone's name that you found in LinkedIn and see what comes up and just start engaging with them consistently.
Got it. Step
Yeah.
3?
Yeah, so 3 kind of piggybacks off of the previous step 2, where you're building that community. So you're engaging with different people that have the same interests as you, maybe your old classmates from university, or social groups that have the same interests as you, volunteer options where you can meet other people.
Mhm.
Maybe there are even events. I see a lot of different events that pop up on LinkedIn, whether they be hiring events or just skill set based events that you can attend to meet and network or learn new skill sets with different peers. So it's definitely about building that community, and just people are there to help you. They're more than likely looking for you as a recruiter. Something I will say, we are looking for people.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we cannot find them
Mhm.
because they're hiding from us.
Mhm.
So come from out under the rock, post on your LinkedIn, your Indeed, open your mouth about all the different things that you have an interest, be loud about it, because we are literally looking for you. And sometimes it is so hard for us to find you on social media or on these different web-based platforms because you're a ghost on there. You haven't posted anything about yourself.
Yeah, visibility for sure is everything
Yes.
on
Yes,
there,
yes,
and
yes, yes,
that's why
yes.
it's so important to have a personal brand. Okay, perfect. So you talked about clarity, you talked about consistency, you talked about community. That's your personal brand toolkit right there.
Yep.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add with regards to your personal brand toolkit or things that you can do to get started? Because I'm sure a lot of people are watching this and saying, "Oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. I think I know where to start. I'm not sure." Any other tips you wanna give?
I would just say it's step by step. Rome wasn't built in a day. I think that's the mindset to have towards it. Obviously, as you can tell, this episode is not sponsored by LinkedIn, but we've just been talking about it a
Uh,
lot. It's not sponsored by LinkedIn yet, but we've been talking about it a lot. But I just think it's a powerful platform. It's so integrated. It has so many of these different ways that you can really get going fast. So I know people are maybe feeling overwhelmed by that. But listen, if you have all the other social medias, you have the TikTok, you have the Instagram, you have the Snapchat, and all these different platforms that we've talked about.
mhm,
If you're telling yourself, oh, but I don't have time, it's really just an excuse because you have time for TikTok every morning.
uh-huh,
Like, even
100%.
for myself. Whenever I'm complaining that I don't have time for something, it's like, yeah, but you had time to scroll on TikTok for 30 minutes today. So you have time
True.
to
It
get your butt going and get out there and discover these opportunities. So yeah, you can't rely on the excuses. You have to push yourself in. And I think we've given some really, really good, foundation and steps for them to get started for sure.
in this day and age, Jenique, I just wanna mention, obviously, we're from different generations, you and I.
Hmm.
And when LinkedIn first came about, it was in 2003. I don't before many of you and your friends might have been born, I'm not sure. But,
Yeah.
um what I'll tell you is that we didn't have the luxury back then to really focus on our personal brand unless it was we were
Yeah.
job and then you show up to your interview and that was your personal brand, right? Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
didn't have the tools and the technology that exists today. And so I'm glad that you brought up all those things, because it's so essential to just sort of take advantage of the resources that we have to
Mhm.
enhance our personal brand.
That is actually so true because if people really think about it, before the age of even internet or just a lot of these platforms, if you were applying for a role, I swear you had to look in like a newspaper or you had to just show up to
Yep.
businesses. Just show up to corporate offices, go to their receptionist and be like, "Hey, are
Yeah.
you guys hiring? Here's my physical resume and
Mhm.
I hope it gets to the right person." You don't even know if they've even gotten it. At
Yeah.
least now you know the system has captured your resume or your application, but back then you really had no idea. And to think that you can literally I know people that are on the job search or even I see it, being in recruitment, people are applying to maybe 10 jobs a day, let's say on average.
Mhm.
Imagine back then showing up to 10 different places in a
Yeah.
day,
I
how
know.
hard that would have been, what would be. So
Hard
we're
and tiring.
definitely
Yeah.
spoiled. Yes, and tiring. And to think that, as I said, you don't even know if anyone's even going to read or see your resume. You
Mhm.
don't even know. Because I even remember one of my first jobs working in a restaurant as a hostess when people would come in and drop off their
I
resumes.
remember that.
We would have stacks of resumes and it's just overwhelming, and even for a hiring manager, if they were looking for someone, for them to get through all those resumes, no, it was more of just luck. Whoever was at that top of the pile or their resume was in the best condition by the time they got to it, that was the best case scenario. So all of that to say, yes, we're very lucky having all of these tools because you can cast such a wide net when it comes to just looking for as many roles as possible in a smaller period of time. You can
Yeah.
automate it a lot.
Yeah, and your brand is your first kick at the can for your brand is really gonna be your online presence,
Yep.
because I don't know how many times Gen Zs have told me they've gone into a place and then handed in their resume and they're, like, looking at them like they have 6 eyes and say, "You gotta apply online, like, why are you bringing your resume here?" When back
Ye
then, people would bring in their resume, and that was when your personal branding started, right? Because you walk
Yep.
they see how you present yourself, you shake their hand, you say hello, make sure you make eye contact, all that,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Yeah.
and that's why it's so important, to utilize what we have today. This is just the way of the world now when it comes to applying.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And in the reverse, last thing, it works. The personal brand actually will work in the reverse because you'll have the opportunity to get approached. As I mentioned, getting into recruitment, I was approached by a recruiter via my LinkedIn profile. So it's
Mhm,
so important to have a strong personal brand and just putting your skill sets out there that maybe you have a certain career path that you're pretty set on but majority of the 9 of the 10 skills that you have match another role that could be of interest to you, and you
mhm.
can get approached for that role. So it's really, really you never know. If you put your personal brand and put yourself out there in the right way, you never know what could happen.
Yeah, 100%. Even when you're in, a networking capacity, you're at an event, someone comes
Yes.
up to you, your brand could also start right there, right then and there as you're having that interaction.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. A lot of in-person events, which I find really fun. I
Mhm,
mean, of course, you're getting to meet people in person, give them that impression, and then you connect and share those LinkedIn profiles afterwards.
mhm.
It gives you the opportunity to show your personality, and a lot of the times, your personality is what's going to win you over. It's going to, get you through 90% of the battle.
100%, yeah, and take advantage of upcoming events, right, that are
Yeah.
coming where you could showcase your profile. I think
Yep.
you have a lot of experience in that and what you've done and how that's opened doors for you too.
Yes, absolutely. Just going, as I mentioned on LinkedIn, there's so many different events and on boards that you can get tapped into. And also, even on Eventbrite, if you are in your local city and you go on Eventbrite, it will give you the opportunity to search based off of your interests and your
Mm,
geographic location. And you can find so many different events, whether they're more casual mixers or it's a conference that's focused on maybe coding or tech or finance or real estate And who knows, even if you're a beginner and you may be like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't sold a house. I haven't even I just got my brokerage license. I'm not gonna go to a conference." Like, these people have probably sold millions of dollars in homes. Still go, because you could meet someone there that will change the trajectory of everything, and maybe they're looking for someone like you, like, "Oh, I want you to come on board, and I'm willing to
Yeah.
mentor you." And you would never have met this person any other
Exactly.
way.
Yeah.
Because things like that, mentorship and things like that aren't always necessarily posted online. I don't think I've ever seen anything posted online before where someone's saying, "Oh yeah, I wanna mentor so and so
Mhm.
in this industry." It's just more of they meet someone, they see that they're charismatic and they're passionate about the industry, and then they're willing to mentor them.
Yeah.
So in-person events are really, really important, and they're fun. You get
Mhm.
cute swag bags, and it's open bar, and it's a great time.
And you get to dress up. Um,
Exactly, exactly.
I love that, Janika. This has been amazing. And I knew it would be because every time we talk
Yes.
careers, branding, I walk away with at least 5 new insights. But having you on Career Amplified to share it with the world, just next level. Um, so thank
No,
you
so
so much.
good. So good. I'm glad we got to pull back the curtain on our, family connections and our passion about careers and all the different stuff that we usually talk about at our different family events and be able to put it here on this platform. And who knows if there's a lot of response or questions that people have, we could do it again very, very soon, maybe on another topic or just based on maybe a Q&A of all the maybe questions that they may have.
Absolutely. I would love that. So, as we close, I just want to recap for our listeners. Personal branding is your career superpower, right? It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. It's bigger than just a LinkedIn profile. It's your story, your consistency, your reputation. Recruiters love candidates who are clear, consistent, and memorable. And you can start today. Clarify what you want and what you want to be known for, show up consistently, and build that community. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Career Amplified. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who's working on their personal brand, or don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a conversation. I'm Karen Dixon, and this has been my amazing niece, Jenieka Dixon, reminding you that your personal brand isn't just nice to have, it's your career superpower. So until next time, keep amplifying your career.